My eyes are so dark underneath. And this lighting is horrible. Oh, wait a second. I already said that. It's quicker. So, nope, not gonna work. Damn it. Okay, so first off, I apologize for the lighting. These lights are like kind of yellow. It's a little bit dim, but it's the best that I can do right now. I work 8 to 5. So by the time I get home and make dinner and put my daughter to sleep, the lighting, natural lighting is very slim. So I didn't want to bust out my big old ring light, and we're just gonna work with this light. So if you are new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for clicking on this video. I just wanted to get into some reasons why I feel personally in my experience why you should consider becoming an LVN or LPN before RN. So if you're interested in knowing those reasons, keep on watching, and we're going to go through 10 of the reasons that I think are good ones to consider becoming a licensed vocational or practical nurse. So let's go. So my goal really quickly was to be an RN. That was always my ultimate goal. I wanted to be in labor and delivery, and I wanted to be a registered nurse. However, I always worked full time, and I didn't get serious about taking my prerequisites until after I started having kids. So after you have kids, you have to have a job to pay for those kids, which means you have less time to go to school. So I opted to look into the LVN programs that we have locally. We have a small community college that did offer an LVN program. However, when it was offered at that time, I was not interested. I just wanted to do my prerequisites and focus on getting accepted into an RN program. Because I was working full time and having to support my son, being able to take multiple classes at one time just wasn't an option for me. So I had to do just a couple of prerequisites at a time, tackling all of my prerequisites except for two of them. I still have chemistry and an algebra class, and then I can bridge into an RN program. So right now I'm in a good position to be able to go into an RN program. But again, now I have 3 kids and I'm working full time. So the cycle just continues. But because I do have my LVN license, I am able to still get a really good position and make really great money while I'm still working on those last 2 prerequisites and when I eventually do go into the last 2 semesters of a registered nursing program. I don't want to make this intro super long, but I did want to give you that little background. So my main reasons why someone who is considering nursing should also consider becoming an LVN or an LPN. My first reason is because there is less prerequisites. So for an RN program, you have all of the sciences, you have a couple of maths, you have a bunch of co-requisites and stuff. I know it's going to be different depending on what college you go to. For my college, they have a pretty lengthy list, and I believe it included like 4 biology classes, including microbiology, anatomy, physiology, chemistry, along with an advanced English, speech. You get the picture. There is a longer list of prerequisites for going into an RN program versus the LVN. So if you can just do a couple of prerequisites and then you can get into an LVN program, that would be a really great thing. So that's what I did. I had all of my prerequisites done for an LVN program, which at the time, our local community college only required you to have a math and an English. So I did not go to my local community college though, because like I said, at that time, I was only focused on doing my RN. By the time I thought about an LVN, the community college done away with the LVN program, but I got lucky enough that in my community, we did have a private school offering an LVN program. So my next thing is if you go to a private school, the cost, it will be a lot cheaper. There are many people who don't want to spend a couple of years doing prerequisites right now because they just want to get on with their life. They know what they want to do. So they're willing to pay, 30, 40 grand to go into these private schools so that way they can get all of their prerequisites done at the same time that they are working towards their degree, so they can get their nursing degree and get out and start their life. So if you are looking into the private school option, which is what I did, that's my second reason to consider becoming an LVN or LPN, because it is much cheaper than going into a private school RN program. So here in California, in my area, was the cheapest that I have seen in California, and it was around $12,000. And the way that my school did it was you could either pay one lump sum or you could make 3 payments per term. So it was 3 terms and you would make the payments based on those terms. For an RN program in this area, the closest one to me is about 45 minutes to an hour away. Same with the other LVN programs. In comparison to my local area being around 12 grand, the other LVN programs are gonna be at least 30 grand. And that's about 45 to an hour away from me. That's crazy. That's a huge amount. But in comparison to paying for the private school to go into the RN would be like 40 upwards to 90 grand if you're wanting to get a BSN. I looked at, I think it was, I want to say Carrington. I'll post it here. The school, but it was for a bachelor's and it's a 4-year program. So it costs about $90,000. And then based on the prerequisites that you have, they will deduct costs depending on what you have done already. So 4th reason, it's faster. So kind of going along with, why did I do this? Okay, so it's quicker to get your LVN license than it is your RN license. We have some programs here in California that are as quick as 8 months, which is crazy. That's really fast. And I personally wouldn't suggest the 8-month route because you're busting your butt. Like, you don't have time for anything. You are constantly, I would say, stressed out. You'd constantly be stressed out. You can go from as quickly as 8 months to the advanced, the rapid courses, rapid program, whatever you want to call it, up to 18 months, which is typical, a year and a half to get your LVN license versus 2 to 4 years for an associate's degree, including the prereqs. So with my program, it was 15 months, and that was it was Monday through Friday, some Saturdays during our clinical rotation. However, during my program, it was really nice because we went to school at 8 o'clock. It was 8 or 8:30, and we were done some days. Most of the days, especially towards the end of the program, we would be able to leave early, like by lunch or a little bit after lunch, and it was our responsibility to use that extra time that we should be using in class to go home and study. Or we can even stay there in class and ask questions. But it was basically up to us, which most of the class, you know, they were all women. A lot of us had kids or other jobs, and we did want to go home. So that was nice, being able to have that flexibility. It was Monday through Friday, every other Saturday for clinicals and short classes. So that was nice, and I don't know if that's how all programs are. That's how my program was. So that was one of the reasons that I put on my list, is because of the length of time. It's shorter in terms of how many months it's going to take you, and then also the actual Monday through Friday schedule was a little bit more flexible, and I'm sure it's flexible in comparison to an RN program as well. So my next reason is less stress. Becoming a nurse is very stressful, whether it's for an LVN or an RN. I'm sure you're learning how to care for people in many different ways and all of their bodily functions, you know, different systems like your heart, your brain, you know, all of these different things. And it's stressful. You're learning a lot. There's a lot about the body. The body is an amazing thing, and you're expected to learn tons and tons and tons and read books and books and books and study and take tests and all of these things in a short amount of time, and you're expected to retain this information so that you can take it with you and care for someone, and that be your job. So it is stressful, but I'm sure it's less stressful than doing the RN program for the time. Okay, my next reason, it's easier to obtain employment after graduation. At least in my area, I have seen, while looking for an LVN position, I've seen tons of RN positions that are either only open to new graduates that are very far and few between, mind you. So if you have a graduating class of 30 nurses and everyone's looking for a job at the same time, more than likely those nurses, half of them at least, are going to have to take positions outside of the area. So if you don't, you know, get a job where you live, you're going to be commuting. If you are an RN fresh out of school. There's certain positions that are open right out of graduation, but those aren't very many. There's not very many departments that offer them, and it's not all the time. So that is one thing. Being an RN, you have to get the experience elsewhere before you can like work in a hospital most of the time. And if you are an RN and that doesn't sound accurate in your experience, leave a comment down below and, you know, help educate some of the viewers that are watching this video, because at least here in my area, that's the norm. Basically, as you graduate, more than likely you will end up taking a position somewhere else and commuting, which I'm sure most people don't care. They just want to get the job and get the experience under their belt. For an LVN, this is the whole point why I put this on my list, because there's so many nursing homes and it's really easy to get into a nursing home as a new nurse. So nursing homes, you know, depending on where you live, there are tons of residents. You know, you're carrying probably between, I'd say, 60 to 100 and some residents in one facility, and all of those residents need nurses to take care of them. More than likely that nurse will be a new graduate LVN or RN. Those with experience move on to the hospitals and to the jobs that are harder to get for a new graduate. It is easier to get a position. You will more than likely end up working in a nursing home, which is totally fine. That's where I started. I've worked in a few different nursing homes locally, and I actually do enjoy working in the nursing home. I personally was raised by my grandma, and so that always held like a special place in my heart, kind of, to see these elderly people kind of honestly be forgotten about. It sucks to say that, but a lot of times that is what's happened. Their family has placed them in this home, and the only people that they have to care for them are the nurses and the nurses' aides and, you know, the activities people and things like that. So nursing homes are very special places, and it does take a special person to work in a nursing home and for a long time at that, and care for the elderly. So they need that, you know, and that's an easy job to get for a new CNA, a new LVN, a new RN, which is great because you can get in and you can get the experience, and there's 3 different shifts. More than likely you have the morning shift, the mid shift, and the overnight shift. So you can choose different shifts, and most of these places will have different positions available as far as like scheduling. So that's another reason, because it's an easy place to get your employment as a new graduate, and you can make a decent amount of money as a new LVN nurse, at least in California. I don't know what the starting rates are for other places, but that is the next reason on my list, is because you can make a decent amount of money while you are trying to finish your prerequisites. If you want to continue and RN is the ultimate goal, you're able to make a great income and get your experience, and you know, you can see if nursing is really for you. Do you want to continue and go on to be an RN? You can make a decent amount. So California, starting usually around here, I've seen, and these estimates are from Indeed.com. I've seen the lowest starting out around $21 per hour for a new LVN, all the way up to over $40 for an experienced LVN. So for an LVN only going to school for 15 months, including, you know, taking a couple of classes for your prerequisites, to be an LVN for, I don't know how many years it'll take to make $40 some an hour, but that's a good pay. That's a really good pay for going to school for 1.5 years and getting that license. My first LVN job, I started out at 24. I think it was 24. I started out at $24 an hour as a new graduate, my first job. And then I worked for a few months, and I actually transferred from this facility to a sister facility, and I was bumped up to 27. So that was a nice gap. And since then I've only gone up. So going to school for 1.5 years and not being able to go back for my RN just yet, I'm making a decent amount of money, and that's a great reason to consider being an LVN. So you can get in quickly. You don't have to take as many prerequisites. It is cheaper, and especially if you have LVN programs in your community college, free or, you know, very minimal cost, hopefully to you. It's faster. It's less time consuming as far as how many months it's going to take you. Studying is probably going to be less stressful, although it's still hard. It's easier to get employment after you've graduated as a new graduate, easier to obtain usually a position in a nursing home, and you can still make a decent amount of money while you are headed towards your goal of becoming a registered nurse. So don't just overlook LVNs or LPNs and think, oh, that's not what I want to do. You know, they don't get paid much, or maybe you think that they just wipe butts all day. Or whatever your perception is of being an LVN and why you've disregarded it, don't just disregard it. If nursing is something that you want to do, I highly suggest considering these reasons, because it's a great stepping stone for experience and to see if that's actually what you want to do. And if it is, then so be it, and pursue your dreams. Don't give up. It's never too late. I'm 35 years old and I have 3 kids, and I'm 2 prerequisites away. After I've gotten my LVN, that now allows me, once my 2 prerequisites are done and a position is available in a RN bridge program, I can go right into the last 2 semesters of an RN program and I'm done. So I'm not giving up on my goal, and I don't think that you should give up on yours. If you are considering nursing school, don't just disregard LVNs, because I disregarded LVN school for a very long time because it's just not what I wanted to do. And look at me now. I've been an LVN for almost 3 years, and RN programs are very competitive, and sometimes on wait lists it just takes years and years, and it could take a long time. So in the meantime, while you're waiting to get that RN degree, maybe look into becoming a licensed vocational nurse or licensed practical nurse. If you have any other questions, if there's something that I did not answer on this video, please leave it in the comments below and I will definitely get back to you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. It helps me know that you guys do like these kinds of videos, and I will make more. I'm sorry if this video is kind of all over the place. My camera died, my son is in the background, and I'm actually in a bathroom trying to record this with dim lights. So I just wanted to get this video recorded so that I can upload it for you guys. And I'm looking at my list, and that's all that I have. I wrote down this itty bitty list, so I'm sorry for I keep looking down and away, but here are my reasons. You probably can't see them, but that's my list and I'm sticking to it. Please subscribe if you have not already. I would love to have you join my channel. I'll be making more nursing related videos. If you don't know, I'm a mom of 3. I work full time in a dermatology office. My next video will be working as a dermatology nurse and how I switched from becoming a nursing home nurse to now an office nurse. So give this video a thumbs up and I hope you guys enjoy your night. Bye.